James Tynion and Joshua Williamson return to the present-day Gotham as Batman faces new challenges in the wake of Joker War, and Damian Wayne returns to his mother's care, but the League of Lazarus looks to put a stop to the reunion. James Tynion begins the next chapter of his Batman saga, continuing his Ghostmaker storyline while also beginning a brand new arc featuring a wonderfully cool new design for Scarecrow. I enjoyed how Tynion perfectly tied in Tomasi's Mayor Nakano's story from his Detective Comics run and his own Ghostmaker, Scarecrow, and Magistrate stories all into one. It was like the perfect storm of things working out, with everything placed perfectly and it all makes sense coming together, with it looking like Scarecrow has some sort of influence over Nakano and his choice in making the Magistrate part of Gotham's power structure. Batman on a budget as well continues to be a lot of fun, and having Bruce work much harder to achieve all of which his gadgets could do in a second is great, since he's got to rely on his mind and his tactics a lot more. Joshua Williamson also picks up where Tomasi left a character off, as Damian's story begins here anew with the young man returning to his mother, something I assumed would be happening with him trying to maybe take over the League of Assassins or becoming part of them, which seems like he wants to do. I love that Talia wasn't just welcoming him back with open arms, and I enjoy that she pretty much tells Damian that he gave up despite what he calls a victory, since he's got nothing to show for it. It'll be interesting for Williamson to dive into Damian's mind now that he's free from his father, and what type of influence does he actually want in his life, since I hope it's a lesson he learns that he doesn't need to be like his mother or father and needs to be his own person. Jorge Jimenez continues his stellar artwork on Tynion's Batman arcs, delivering some truly beautiful pages, really selling the fear and horror aesthetic that comes with Scarecrow and his plans. His Batman action is so damn good as well, and it sits really well next to his Superman work he did in Rebirth, whereas that was all big and bombastic. His Batman stuff is a lot more precise and tactile, matching Tynion's Batman on a budget story really well. Gleb Melanchoff added his lovely art to Damian's first adventure free from his father and did a fantastic job debuting his new look as well. I'm a big fan of the cape he's wearing and how it sits on his shoulders, very reminiscent of his Batman 666 costume. I do enjoy the idea that's toyed with here in the art that despite being removed from his father, he still keeps some of his design elements, like with the cape and the mask and everything. Gleb's action, which wasn't really a lot in this issue, but it was really great with what we got, and it had the expected level of violence and bloodshed one comes to expect when Talia al Ghul is on the scene. Batman issue 106 was a fantastic return to the present while continuing Bruce Wayne's Batman on a budget storyline, while also beginning some new interesting arts with big connections to Infinite Frontier and Future State. Damian's adventures also begun with a bang, and I'm looking forward to more from Tynion and Williamson on these characters over the next year. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10. Batman issue 106 heads into a creepy, dilapidated hospital where a man has his eyes pried open as he's forced to watch a series of televisions, as Bruce reminds himself to keep his mind focused and clear and remember what's at stake, wanting himself to put the pieces back in the right order. His inner voice soon tells him that he failed and people died, but he snaps himself out of it, knowing that they aren't his thoughts, not wanting to let him break in and take his concentration. Scarecrow soon arrives, pretending he's teaching a class, introducing himself as Jonathan Crane, the lecturer. Crane asks the man why they fear, as Bruce tells himself to tune out the voice in his mind, wanting him to focus, wondering where this started, knowing that there was a gas attack on Arkham Asylum. He soon remembers it was after that, and it was while he was driving with a woman's voice in his head asking if he was sure the city was still his. Scarecrow's voice comes back, trying to upend Bruce's thoughts, as Crane says Batman cannot stop himself from listening, since to succumb to fear is human and necessary. He wants to show Bruce this as he itches his needles closer and closer, causing Bruce Wayne to scream in pain. In Old Gotham, Batman drives his modified sports car through Old Gotham, as Oracle says he'll soon be in position to intercept the Unsanity Collective. That is, as long as he doesn't hit anything, hoping his crash systems are installed. Batman says that he took them out of the car since he put in a bigger engine, and he didn't take the airbags out luckily, since that wouldn't have made the car go any faster. Batman asks who the Collective hit, learning that it was the owner of the Gotham Gazette, riot, and the police estimate they stole at least $36 million worth of artwork. Batman knows that that's the 5th media mogul in a week, and the gang's leader, Mr. Wise, continues to rant about with Arkham falling, they must reject the past and embrace the new insanity. His gang race through old Gotham as Oracle reroutes traffic to keep them boxed in, but Batman needs to get a move on, and hopefully his car has a few tricks left in it. Some of the gang ride on their glider above the other gang members, transporting all of the artwork as they spot Batman, telling their boss Miracle Molly, who says that she knew he would appear eventually, reminding the team that they have the advantage. The team know that it's Batman following them, so they have no chance, but Molly tells him to stay strong, since he's just another broken piece of the city, and he'll soon come round to their way of thinking. Opening his car, Batman grapples out of it, telling Oracle it's got a remote steering system in it, wanting her to take control and to keep tailing the others on the bikes. The gang see Batman peel off, thinking that they are in the clear as Ghostmaker finally arrives, 30 minutes after Oracle originally called him. Ghostmaker says that he likes to make an entrance, as Batman reminds him not to kill anyone or maim anyone, since they are thieves, not killers. Batman smashes one of the goons in the face as he disarms the other, demanding they bring the glider down. The pilot says that he won't, that this is just the beginning and the people are going to see what Unsanity has to offer them. Batman demands he drop the glider now, and the man does, as later, Batman ties them all up in Robinson Park. One of their radios crackles to life, with Molly asking if they shook Batman, but the hero talks back, saying her friends are going to prison and she isn't going to get away with terrorizing the city any longer. Molly doesn't think this is Batman's city anymore, and the cops are coming not to thank him. Ghostmaker arrives, having the two that he went after, wondering what Batman wants to do with them when the cops pull up. The two men take their leave, with Ghostmaker asking if Bruce wants to spar once back at the garage, betting he can make it back to the garage first. Bruce takes that bet as on a nearby rooftop, Harley races to the edge, only to find that she missed the gang yet again. Angered, Harley wonders how the hell these hero types afford fancy cars and grapple guns without robbing banks every other minute, wondering just how she's meant to be on the straight and narrow now. In Midtown, Simon Saint tells the mayor that he has built his company in Silicon Valley, but dreamed of coming to Gotham one day, talking about how he was raised in the Tri-Corner yards before it became industrialized, and even back then the city was like a pressure cooker, but it made the most out of its people, and he himself looked up to Thomas Wayne, who used his life to help others. He says Gotham used to shape people into the envy of the world, but now the city has bred monsters and murderers, and the people are scared, as evidenced by the people Simon interviewed, asking them what they think Gotham is now. Simon can't blame them, given the recent threats to the city they faced in the last few years alone, and now Arkham Asylum has been destroyed, and all its madness is spilling out into the streets, making the city have clown gang problems, homicidal teenage vigilantes, and now the mysterious Mr. Wise is bringing terror to the streets, and the people seem to think that this all rests in the hands of the unsanctioned vigilante like Batman. Simon asks Chris straight up, what was the last time GCPD stopped a supervillain attack without Batman? Chris says that Batman barely gives them the opportunity to, but Simon disagrees, since the GCPD, like all police forces, was created to help the people and to stop crime, so why not face extraordinary threats with extraordinary crime fighters? Simon unveils the Magistrate Program, which will deputize his peacekeepers and give the full support and resources to stop a Bane or a Joker, or whatever threatens the city. He says that the city is expanding faster than it has in the 50 years prior, and Batman isn't enough anymore, and he wants Gotham to be the one city where his tests of the Magistrate Program happen, and become the city it once was. Chris wishes his argument wasn't as compelling as it is, but he doesn't know if he could match his incentives, but he will talk it through with his advisors. Simon has his man Ricardo see the mayor out, as across from the building, Scarecrow watches Simon. In Fort Grey, Edmund Potter tells the arriving reporters that Bruce Wayne isn't talking to reporters, telling the woman that he isn't going to let anyone get the story on how one of the richest men lost it all and started slumming it in the city with the rest of them. The reporter doesn't think that this is slumming it, as Potter angrily tells her not to twist his words, since before Wayne moved in, all the neighbors knew each other's names, but now they get nosy reporters at all hours, preventing all of that. He hopes Wayne becomes part of this community, as the reporter plans on running a story about Bruce alienating his neighbors. Bruce watches it all happen through a security camera, as Ghostmaker knows that old man Potter is at it again, just like he always is on his evening walks. Ghost says that he hates Bruce, since despite losing his money, Bruce is still twice as rich as him, and he's reminded about it every day thanks to Bruce living there. The man knows that Bruce acts like he never had neighbors before, but Bruce says the manor did have neighbors, though they were a mile away, and he lived in the city once, but he owned the whole building. However, this garage is all he needs right now. Ghostmaker Ghostmaker reminds him that he doesn't have a butler anymore, so he needs to clean up after himself as well, but Bruce says he will once the Unsanity Collective is dealt with. Ghostmaker says that if Bruce won't spar with him, he's going to leave and find something exciting to do, maybe even team up with Old Man Potter. Bruce, however, recites the names of all of the media moguls the Collective have targeted so far as he gloves up, sparring with Ghostmaker, who thinks these people were being punished for something, perhaps for the unsavory way they are covering the Collective in the news. Bruce knows that that would only solidify the news coverage on them, and the tensions are already high thanks to A-Day, and the sensationalist stories of high-tech gangs only fuel it, so somebody is using them to attack people who control the mood of Gotham. Ghostmaker wonders who would do that, and Bruce knows that it's someone who wants to make them afraid. At the mayor's mansion, Chris is dropped off by his men, saying that he's got a weird feeling when meeting with Simon Saint, wanting his men to tell Simon that they don't need him or his Magistrate Program in Gotham. Heading inside, Chris pours himself a drink and puts on the news about Batman's defeat of the Unsanity Collective, sitting and listening as the news moves on to how his approval ratings have slid down. Chris isn't the only one in the home, as Scarecrow has come to pay the mayor a visit. Far from Gotham in Markovia, a group of security men are taken down as inside the castle, Talia al Ghul pours some tea, sensing someone is there with her. She knows it's her son, saying that when he was just 6 years old he cut the ear off a member of a League of Assassins, just so he could prove he couldn't hear him coming. She knows Damien wanted to know he's there, telling him to stop being so theatrical, just like his father. Damien says that he's nothing like him since Bruce is a failure and a boy trapped in an alley, stuck in his own ways, and he tried to learn from those ways, but now he's escaped and is free. Damien tells his mother that he is back now to fulfill his role as the heir to the demon throne, whether she likes it or not. Talia hugs her son, knowing it's good to see him even though she tried to convince him many times to come back. However, he always chose his father and she respected that, but now it's disappointing that he has returned in defeat. Damien says that he rejected the ways of the Batman, but he has nothing to show for his supposed victory over Batman, no resources or money or home, and he just ran back to his mother. She finds it so uninspired, calling him a baby bird who has fallen from its nest after its first flight, but she's there to return it to its nest. But first, she asks if the assassins who are in the room with them are his. Damien says that he thought that they were hers as the men reveal themselves to be the League of Lazarus, and Talia is to be tested. The men attack, but Talia easily kills one of them, saying that they will find out who they are afterwards. The mother and son battle the League, but one of the assassins grabs Talia, saying Damien's moves won't be enough to stop him from drawing demon blood from the woman. Talia tells her son to kill the man, but he hesitates as there is a splash of someone's blood.